to do with direction, which again, guys in ships would have done. And they used this thing called a sexsmith, which analyzed the horizon and all that kind of stuff, you know, way back when the world was flat, and if you went too far over the ocean, you actually fell off the edge. Before they knew the world was actually round, right? So compass. So when we're drawing this, because we're going to get questions where you got to go 38 degrees south of east, 19 degrees west of north, and you got to know how to do this. There were some questions in chapter 3 that were like this. I just kind of skipped over them. So now we're going to do it. So compass, north. We usually want to go up the page for north, right? I mean, hey, you can draw this any way you want. You want to put your north that way? Be my guest, right? But this is the way I'm doing it. So we know what's opposite to north. That would be south, yeah. And by the way, you ever heard of this term called geomagnetic reversal? You know, about 600 years ago, the compass didn't point north, it pointed south. And then 600 years before that, it was north. And we're coming up to that time period when historically scientists know that this thing all of a sudden reverses the two poles of Earth. And they don't really know why. And they're trying to figure out, going back about, 550 years ago, was that the same time that this plague came out? And most of the world, not most of the world, but a good percentage of it, living things all kind of ceased to exist? Wow, there's some people who think that. So the next time our poles all of a sudden just go whip, and now the North Pole would actually be on the south, and the South Pole will be on the north. So all of a sudden your compass is broken. You got to get a new one that points exactly 180 degrees the other way. Maybe that will coincide with another kind of mass extinction of some things, animals, maybe people. Anyway, at the moment, north is north. Now, the tricky part. Which one's west and which one's east? How do we do this? Good, because some of you come from, I don't know where you learned this, somewhere way over here in this other building, something about some soggy wiener. Do you all know what I'm talking about, or some of you are going like, what?
Never eat soggy wiener.
Never eat soggy. Where did you learn this?
Grade 3.
Grade 3. Now, that's wonderful, but if you write it counterclockwise instead of clockwise, you're going to get it wrong, aren't you? Okay? Never eat soggy wieners. Good, I got it, right? Okay, well, as long as you remember that, never eat soggy wieners. Okay, great, it's stuck. That's fine, it works. Use it. What's easier, or if you don't know that, excuse me, this spells we, not you. Okay? So that's kind of, well, I kind of got it memorized now. I'm okay with this. But you know, there's a lot of smart people out there who are dyslexic, incredibly bright. They start companies that become huge international corporations, and they become billionaires. And just because they get their E's and their W's mixed up doesn't mean they're not smart people, right? Okay? P's and Q's, by the way. If you're dyslexic, you don't know which one's which. They're still smart. Okay? It's just a little condition that they have in their head. Some little wires, two little wires, just kind of short circuit. They just don't kind of connect. Anyway, that's how I do it. Okay? So, example. A boat travels 120 kilometers south, then 120 kilometers south 20 degrees east. how far is it from its starting position? So, I think the south part's okay. Obviously, if I'm going south, I want to start my picture up here, right? So, due south is just straight down the page. And if you want to be an oddball and have south go up, hey, be my guest. It can still work, right? So that is a distance. Then what? How do you do that? How do you do south 20 degrees east? Have you done this before in other courses? You think so? Because there's, you know what, there's three ways I can say that direction. South, in Math 11 pre-calculus, we'd actually say that was 270 degrees. Okay, that also works, as well as due south. So south 20 degrees east, if you go south and then 20 degrees east of it, so I'm not going that way, but I want to still do my south here. What's 20 degrees eastward of south? It's in that direction, okay? That is 20 degrees. Make sense? I don't want to try to confuse you, but there's also another way I could call that, and this is what we use in physics, but this book I know uses this, so that's what I'm going to be consistent with. Okay? That is 20 degrees east of south. Okay? Which says something different than that, doesn't it? But it's the same direction. Okay? 20 degrees eastward of due south is the same as south 20 degrees east. Okay? We all happy? You agree? Okay? So just for practice, don't write this. If that's 60, what direction is this? Don't yell it out. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. How would I write it in that form? Anybody? That's north. I'm not going north, but I'm going north. That's 60 degrees in the east direction from north, right? Okay? So anyway, this is 120, that's 130. It's not really done to scale, but hey, good enough. What's the question? Because it might be worded quite a few different ways. What's the total distance traveled? How far are you from the starting point? Okay? This one says, how far is it from where I started, which is way up there? So, as the crow flies, that would be the distance. Call it X. Call it whatever letter you like. Nice big pictures, right? Okay, otherwise it's going to be really hard to see it. Right, Cheyenne? Nice big picture. Nice big one. Oh, here comes the eraser. Now, does this 20-degree angle help me solve this? How can I solve this? What do I want to use? Sine law? Cosine law? Very good. We learned this. Thanks for that input. We want angles inside our triangle, right? Not just as a bit. We want angles inside the triangle, not angles outside the triangle. How do I find out an angle inside the triangle? Any idea what this angle would be? Do I have like this thing happening? How far is it from here to here? Remember chapter 2? First one we did? That's 180. If that's 20, guess what this is? That's 160 degrees, yeah, okay. So this guy is 160. That is an angle contained within two sides i.e., if I got side angle side, that's what I'm trying to say. What am I going to use? Cosine law, you bet, okay? So, x squared is 120 squared and 130 squared minus 2 times 120, 130 times cosine of the angle in between them, and that's an obtuse angle, so it qualifies as chapter 4 material. Okay? And if you got a good calculator and you're highly talented, you can just put that in just like it looks. Oh, make sure you're in degrees, Mr. Watson. Cosine of 160. Does that look like the distance? No. I think most of us are pretty good. Maybe one or two of us are still forgetting 2. That's x squared. Yeah, I want to take the square root of that. Don't forget. That looks more reasonable, doesn't it, as far as my picture is concerned? 246, let's just say it's the nearest kilometer, okay? Okay, next example, same stuff, it's just going to be a little bit trickier. Any questions? Okay, example 2. Yet another boat. Oh, let's be different. Let's call it a ship. What's the difference between a boat and a ship? But at what point does a boat become a ship? Any captains? Any sons or daughters of captains in here? I have no idea. I'm just curious. No, questions, hey, lifelong learning off the top of my head. What the hell is the difference? What's the difference between a test and an exam anyway? One question, 5 minutes? Are they? Okay, there's a good definition. North, 20 degrees west. Then, and are they female or male? Most of us know that, right? Well, because some of us learn French. And everything's la, a le, right? Or le. Ole. Hey. Okay, 90 kilometers north, 20 degrees west, then 120 kilometers south, 80 degrees west. Then back to where they started, we're going to assume. What is the total distance traveled? Okay, so now we don't start due south or due north or something easy like that. I'm starting north, 20 degrees west. Can you vision that in your head? You see where that's going? So north is that way. I want to go 20 degrees westward of north. Which way is westward? That way. So 20 degrees. Okay, it's a little exaggerated. Nice big picture, Cheyenne, right? And I'm going how far? 90 kilometers. Okay? Everybody happy with that? Then what? Then I go 120 kilometers. Which way? So where is due south from there? I want to do a new compass, right? Due south would be that way. I don't want to go due south. I want to go 80 degrees west of that. So westward of south is that way. And that's 80. Well, that's 90. Like, I wouldn't say 90 degrees west of south. That's just due west, right? But 80 is pretty close. So it's like almost 90. That's 90. That's 120. So if I want to be really picky, that should be a bit longer than that one. Okay? So that's due south. That's 80 degrees west of it. That's 80 degrees. And I want to know the total distance. It's obviously 90 plus 120. If I go back, I need to know x to add to 90 and 120 to get the total distance. Okay? A little trickier. Am I going to use cosine law again? Can I use sine law? Is there an angle in that triangle that I know yet? I don't know that. I don't know that. And I don't know all of that. I gotta know something or I can't do nothing, right? How do I get this angle? It's 80 plus. Anybody like 20? Okay. Again, who remembers chapter 2? If I have two parallel lines and a transversal, is this the same angle as this one? Are they alternate interior? Is this the same as that? Tilt your head sideways. You see it? Is that the same thing as this? It sure is. Now it's vertically, okay? So a little trickier, but you've done this. You know how to do that. Okay, that's 80. That's 20. So again, I have side, angle, side. I'm going to use cosine law to find this side opposite. 90 squared and 120 squared minus 2 times 90 times 120 times cosine of 80 and 20 is 100 degrees. Ew. Ew what? Minus 2 times 90 times ew times cosine of ew is that. Take the square root of dat, wascally wabbit, and you got 162. To the nearest k. Is that the answer? No. Remember, I want total distance. If that's a multiple choice question, you think that's going to be one of the answers? You bet. Guess how many kids will pick it? About 30% he is. So 160, where did I get 80? 162 and 90 and 120 is the answer, okay? I already got that in there. Let's add that. Let's add that. 372 is the total distance for that female ship. Okay? Compass. You're going to get a question or two on a test like that. We're not having a test today, we're having a quiz on the test next Friday. So, you should have done these questions for your quiz. I'm going to add one more, and I'm going to add one from chapter 3, 154.11. Okay, that's it, just two questions. Do those after the first half of the quiz. You will see. You will see. Grab some wood.